Wheels, lengthen. Wheels, lengthen.
Welcome to Legacy Baseball in collaboration with On Deck Ministries. My name is Jeff Johnson, the General Manager of Legacy Baseball. In this DVD, I would like to introduce Oscar Miller, the creator and inventor of the swing right batting tee. Over the last 30 to 40 years, Oscar has worked extensively with Hall of Famers, professional baseball players, and the Division I, II, and III collegiate athletes. He's also worked with high school and various youth programs throughout the Bay Area and the greater California area. In this tape, you will see, first of all, a very mechanical approach to the 9 steps of hitting. It's important that we have the same terminology, whether you use the words that we suggest in this tape or words of your own. The student needs to understand the terminology in each aspect of the swing. He needs to look like a hitter before he can become a hitter. In the second part of the tape, Oscar will introduce 2 of his students who have been working on the swing for 2 to 3 years. They will mechanically go through the swing. You will see a little bit more fluidity. They know and have an approach to the swing every time they enter the batter's box. In the final portion of the DVD, we've taken some game shots in a real live game situation. We feel that during the game is most of the time when game slippage occurs. So you will see these players, you will see mistakes, it's very raw, but we will identify where they are at in their swing with the 9 steps of hitting. So we hope you enjoy this DVD. Take the time to incorporate these skills with your players, and we challenge you to step on deck with us. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Oscar Miller with Legacy Baseball. Legacy Baseball is an outreach program for On Deck Ministries. What we're trying to do through the 2 is to develop character in young people. Now, using the baseball as the outreach program for character, we feel that in the game of baseball, there's no justice in baseball. You hit a line drive right at someone, you hit the ball as hard as you can, and you line into a double play. The pitcher makes a great pitch and you're fooled and you poke at it and you hit a triple over the first baseman's head, a blooper. So baseball, there's not an actual looking for justice. If you're looking for justice, you won't find it in baseball. So we're trying to deal with the character that the game provides. The great hitters hit 300, they fail 70% of the time. Our goal is to try to develop skills and life lessons through the game of baseball. Now surely we want to develop baseball players. Where we start is with basic terminology so that we're all on the same page. So that when I say red, we all think red. When I say green, we all think green. So terminology is the goal with this video here. Now, we're going to have a 9 process steps of terminology that gets us through the entire swing. What I'm going to do now is give you a capsule of those 9 steps. We tell them that if it feels comfortable, if it feels the same way as it used to be, then it's probably wrong. That it needs to feel uncomfortable. Before you become a great hitter, you start to look like one. So our goal here is to reprogram a swing through these 9 steps and a basic terminology that we're going to give you. I've been blessed to work with some of the greatest hitters in the world. I've worked with Hall of Famer hitters. I've worked with professional teams. I've worked at the college level, to Division I, II, and III level, the junior college level, and the high school level. I've been coaching for over 40 years. And what I found is that the depth that we can actually get into isn't really given out very often. So I've tried to come up with this 9-step process. In each step, there are 3 different things that come with the 9. So the magic number here is 3. Every hitter wants to hit 300. Every pitcher wants to have an earned average below 3. 3 strikes and you're out. There are 3 bases and a plate. 3 times 3 is 9. That's the number of innings of the game. There are 9 players in the field, once again. So 3 is a magic number in baseball. And I'm trying to come up with a catchword group, something that makes it simple so that everyone can remember. How many things do you have to check when you get in the plate? 3. How many steps are there? 3. How many of this are there? 3. So they know that the formula is 3 with one exception that we'll get to later. So right now I'm going to give you an overview of these 9 steps of hitting. Step 1 is the 3 checks. Step 2 are the 3 R's. Step 3 is the upper body gather.
4, lower body gather.
Step 5 is our stride. Step 6 is trigger. Step 7 are the contact points. Step 8 is extension, and step 9 is the roll and pull and the finish. Those are the 9 steps. Now we're going to go into more depth with each of these steps and more terminology. Now I'm going to break down the 9 steps of hitting. We're going to start with step 1, the 3 checks. The 3 checks are measure off, check your feet, and check your grip. Now I'd like to get into a little depth of each of the 3. 1 being measure off. When we measure off, we hold the bat with the hand nearest the knob. People have different preferences as to which portion of the plate they want to touch, the inside, middle, or outside, as long as we're consistent. But we want to get the same distance from the plate every single time. If our feet vary a ½ inch, then we've changed the outside corner and the inside corner. Sameness will lead to greatness, and greatness to sameness. They're surely connected. So this first of the 3 is measure off, holding the bat with our left hand, touching the portion of the plate that you have preference to, and getting our belly button lined up with the point of home plate. So our belly button's lined up with that back of the plate. That gets us so that we're deep in the batter's box. That's the first of the 3 checks, measuring off. It should look like this. The second of the 3 checks is checking our feet. We need to get our feet shoulder width apart, and the back foot needs to be straight. The straighter portion of the shoe should run in a parallel line with the straight portion of the plate. It's going to actually feel like our back foot is toed in slightly. The front foot should be slightly open because at contact point we're going to want it about 45 degrees so that we can get the hips through. The feet should be in the same spot every single time. In the beginning, we'll have them use their bat and put their bat down so that they can actually hit the same width every single time. What happens when a youth, when he's growing, he grows so much each year. And the first year he puts his feet at a certain width, the next year he's grown a number of inches, but his muscle memory program puts his feet in the same exact spot. He grows again the next year, and his muscle memory pattern is still putting his feet in the same spot. So as we get taller, we need to open our base and get it wider. Now I'd like to cover the third of the 3 checks. The third of the 3 checks is our grip. What we do with our grip is we take the back of the bottom hand, and we have to have it facing the pitcher in our batting stance. So we grip the bat with the back of the bottom hand facing the pitcher, and then we get our top hand so that it's straight, so that it's not bent under, but it's straight in line, so that there's no bend in this hand. That should line up my center row of knuckles, allowing me at contact point to be palm up and palm down. This is where I want to be. Every hitter wants to be short to the ball and long through the ball. So getting here with this grip, this will happen to every field, and this will give me the ability to be long through the ball and to stay on the ball as long as possible. We see too much top hand quite frequently, and they get right here and then they roll over. Now also in the grip, the top hand, it's almost like a snow cone that you're holding it. The bat shouldn't be choked in the back of your hand, so that when I get to contact, I'm actually throwing the bat in the top hand. And we call that the last lever act of the top hand. And it allows us to really throw the club head, the sweet part of the bat, through the ball. So there we've covered the 3 steps involved in the 3 checks. Next we're going to go to step 2, the 3 R's. Now the 3 R's, the reason that we have the 3 R's is because we want to get them in a relaxed position. We want to teach them that the batter's box is like your dad's office, like your mom's kitchen. Don't go in there and mess around with it. You're going to get in trouble. That's their spot. This is your spot. You're the hitter. You own this spot. When the pitcher is delaying or walking off the rubber, we want you to get into your office, the batter's box, by coming in and doing the first check that we've just, the three checks that we've just covered, and getting into this position we call the 3 R's. We want the bat flat so we can put a glass of water on it. This gets our elbows down nice and close together. We've already done the 3 checks, so our lower half is in good position and our distance from the plate is in good position. So these 3 R's, we relax, we're resting, and we're ready. Those are the 3 R's. Once again, rest, ready, relax. My ears and eyes are on the pitcher, and my elbows are close together. This look here with the elbows is what we're going to carry through the whole swing. That's really the purpose of the 3 R's. We want them to stay this distance through the whole swing. We see quite frequently when young people lift the bat off their shoulder to get in their stance, this happens. And that's not a hitter's look. And as we said, the goal here is to look like a hitter before you become a hitter. And that's what the 9-step process is going to lead us to. Upper body gather. Step 3. A, hands back as far as possible. B, elbows close together. C, shoulder down. We start from the 3 R's, rest, ready, relax. Step A is get my hands back as far as I can and keeping my elbows that same distance. Step B is keeping those elbows close together. And step C is having my front shoulder down. This should put the bat at 45 degrees through my head, this angle right here, and this should get me so that if I let the bat slide out of my hand, it lands behind my back foot. We call that having the gun loaded. We see a lot of youth getting their hands in here, and now when they start their swing, they're going to lose the barrel, and the barrel is actually going to go behind the back foot, and we're going to be long to the ball. We want to have our hands back and be short to the ball so that when our hands come forward, the bat in its swing never gets behind the back foot. As you can see, it never drops down behind the back foot. When it starts to drop, it's in front of the back foot, allowing me to be short to the ball. So in step B of this, keeping our elbows close together, what we find is the youth get their back elbow up, and then as it flies down, the front shoulder flies up. Now I can't go down to the ball. I can't stay in the plane of the ball. We need to have a downward plane with the shoulders and the knees. So keeping this elbow down is really, really important. Step C of check 3, the upper body gather, is getting that shoulder down. Now that shoulder stays down on a high pitch. When I hit a high pitch, it should never ever pop up. But we see youth, the first thing that happens is it goes up, and now I'm not going to be able to stay in the plane very long, and I'm going to be long to the ball. So those are the A, B, C's of check number 3, upper body gather. Now I'd like to go into step 4, lower body gather. The step A is transferring my weight back, gathering my weight back so that I have a straight line from toe, knee, hip. B is, while doing that weight transfer, all of my weight on the front foot is transferred to the inside big toe. And C is that has allowed me to have a crooked leg. This right here is called inner thigh tension. We feel this is the most important thing with any hitter, keeping inner thigh tension. I'm going to keep this throughout my swing. I've gathered and acquired inner thigh tension. When we go into the next steps, you'll see that we keep inner thigh tension. We keep it as long as we can. It's our best friend. This allows us later on to do some things. Pelvic thrust, hip speed predicates bat speed. This is an important part of a great hitter right here, this lower half. Now let's go back again. A, where I gather and have my straight line from toe, knee, hip. This is what we're teaching is backside rotational hitting. There are 3 basic types of hitters: inside out front foot hitters, backside rotational hitters, and a cross speed where they actually clear the back foot off the ground. Typing the 3 basics. We're going to backside rotational hitting. Now when I gather and hit this line in step A of toe, knee, hip, I have a straight line there. This knee, it's imperative that this knee not come out beyond our toe. We know that when we get done hitting, our weight is going to be in the middle of our body. And if we get our weight transferred too far over our toes, then when we get to contact, we're going to have to be pulling off to get back to the middle. And our goal is to be short to it again and long through it. So getting back to step A here, when I gather and have this straight line, toe, knee, hip, I'm tall still here in the backside. I can crouch, and you don't have to, whatever, but that knee does not go over my back toes. Step B, where my weight transfers inside that big toe, we don't want the heel to be up too high. If the heel is just up very slightly, and I'm inside that big toe, we see some great hitters where they're toe tapping, trying to keep all their weight back. And we're very light here because our weight is on this back foot, facilitating what we're going to get into later. Now, see this crooked leg here, this leg that is bent, and allowing us to keep inner thigh tension. This is imperative to staying back. We never want our knee to get over our front foot in our swing because we've had the weight transfer too much forward. Our knees are going to stay between our feet the whole swing. So those are the ABCs of step 4, lower body gather. Step 5, the stride. A, inside the big toe. B, don't break the little egg that's under the front heel. It's a little egg. The heels come up just a little bit. C, I've broken the letter A. It's bent. My weight is back on the straight line that we talked about in the prior step. So this is the stride. Those are the ABCs. Inside the big toe, A. B, don't break the egg. C, break the letter A. Now let's go back to A, inside the big toe. We also come up with the 3 S's on the stride, that we want the stride to be short, same, soft. But striding inside the big toe is really, really important. And what that leads to is my head staying very stationary. When I stride, my head shouldn't move at all. If I'm trying to track a moving object, the ball, with eyes that are moving, I'm not going to be very successful. So having a really quiet head, that's why we're striding and sliding out soft in A and being inside the big toe. Now, what happens is the heel is up and it allows me to stride out, and I'm inside the big toe because you can see I'm still back. I can't land on a flat foot. Now my weight is transferred to the center. The key here is to keep our hips back. Hip speed predicates bat speed. Our stride is just a timing device. We see some great hitters not striding at all, and they start out inside the big toe, not breaking the egg, and they're in that position to do their swing, and they start out with a crook leg. They've just eliminated the stride completely because it's just a timing device. If the pitcher is very, very fast, we want to get our stride done before the ball even comes out of his hand. The normal pitcher at the college level, we're trying to get the stride done at release point. And if he's very slow, we wait until the ball's out of his hand. So the stride is just a timing device. We're encouraging our hitters in the on-deck circle to not be wasting, every time the pitcher throws a pitch, to be working on their stride or timing device and getting the timing of the pitcher every single pitch that he throws. He's trying to get us out of sync timing, and we're trying to be plugged in and have good timing with the pitch. So the stride is a very, very important part. We see at almost every level they're late. One of the most famous big league hitting instructors right now, his favorite word group is, get it done, get it done. He's continually yelling that out, and what he's telling some of the greatest hitters in the world is to get your stride foot done early, get it done. Because we're very seldom are we early, and we're mostly late. If we're late, we're beat. If we're early, we still have a chance to adjust. But the timing device is very important, which is our stride. Now, going back to C, the crook leg. This crook leg, as I start my swing, as we've already mentioned, this crook leg allows for inner thigh tension. I need to keep this. So I've gotten inner thigh tension, and I'm going to keep this inner thigh tension. I acquired it in my stance. I do my stride, I still have inner thigh tension. And you're going to see in the next step, we still have inner thigh tension, keeping this tension. One of the biggest problems that we see with young hitters, college hitters, professional hitters, not just young hitters, is premature firming of this front leg. This leg, as they start their swing, firms up. And the back leg comes out, and as it firms up, now my body is going that way. And if I get anything middle away from the plate, breaking ball away or anything away, I can't drive it. I can only poke at it. So half the plate I'm out with premature firming of the front knee. So inner thigh tension, keeping this crook leg, step C, keeping it is very, very important. Now we're going to go into step 6, trigger. From the stride position, trigger involves A, heel down, B, heel up, C, hands forward. And they happen simultaneously, and they should look like this. Now, those are the ABCs of trigger. Now, what we see, the most difficult thing that we see is when, after the stride, as the heel goes down, we see young people still having the hands go up. And the heels, front heels going down, and instead of the hands going forward to be short to the ball, the hands continue up, they leave their back line of toe, knee, hip, and now they're swinging from here with all the weight transferred to the front and have lost a great deal of power. So the A of heel down and the B of hands forward must be in sync. And this is very difficult. This doesn't happen just naturally. And they'll see tossed or tee work, and they want to overswing, and this starts happening. And they launch out. We call this step right here, when heel goes down and hands go forward, I should still be on my toe, knee, hip line. With my hips back in this position, my hips can be very violent and quick. Hip speed predicates bat speed, and I can rotate them quickly. If my weight transfers forward, now my hips aren't nearly as quick, and the bat isn't going to be as fast because truly hip speed predicates bat speed. So look, with these three steps, heel down, hands forward, heel up, they're imperative that they almost are simultaneous. Now, the back heel, what we see with everyone is the back heel should never lose ground. I should be able to swing as if there's a pillar block right here, and that heel should come straight up and straight out. The knee should come straight out, and I should rotate to that toe. That heel never lost ground. It did not go backwards or losing ground, causing me to cave in and belong to the ball. Now, the route of this back knee is straight out. This is rotational hitting, backside rotational hitting. This knee is heading straight out. This leg is still crooked. If this knee heads under me here, now I'm going in an upward plane. My shoulders will naturally go upward, and I'm not going to go down to the ball. I'm not going to be short to the ball. Now, there are great hitters that take this route to come inside, and when they do, they lock both hips, and as they travel in this motion so that I still have a downward plane with the knees. It's a very sophisticated swing. I don't think any youth ball, I don't think any great hitter started out doing that method. I think when he got a foundation of backside rotational, then he adapted to that, finding that he was more comfortable with it. And I think that if you're going to become a great hitter, you actually need to learn both styles. And I think the most difficult really is backside rotational, and that's why I start there. I think if we get that as a foundation, we can build off that very easily with the other two styles. So, reviewing step 6, trigger, 3 things happening simultaneously. Heel down, the leg staying crooked, hands forward as the heel goes down, and back heel coming straight up, knee heading out, keeping inner thigh tension. I still haven't lost inner thigh tension. Step 7, contact points. What we do at contact point is we've taken our stride and we've done heel down, heel up, hands forward. Now at this point, from 6, we're going to go to 7 to contact point. Remember, I've talked so much about inner thigh tension. As I go to contact point for the opposite field, for me, a right-handed hitter, to right field, I still have inner thigh tension. The 5 back toes will point in the direction the ball is going to come off the bat. And this would be right field, this would be center field, where the front leg is firmed up, and this would be left field. Those are the 3 contact points we have. Now surely we have 3 different heights, high, low, and medium, or down the middle. But contact point, what the key to contact point to remember is that at contact point for right field, I still have inner thigh tension. We see hitters firming this front leg up, and now the backside is already pivoted, and there's nothing to drive the ball with authority to the opposite field. This front leg needs to be crooked, and the back 5 toes are pointing, and as I drive through it to right field, then the rotation continues, and then I get through the ball completely with the hips, which I do on every swing. Now, after opposite field contact comes center field. Now, center field contact, every time I contact the ball, my right arm is greatly bent, but at that point, driving the ball to center field or pulling the ball to left field, I've lost inner thigh tension. This is when the front knee is firm. This is when the hips have gotten all the way through. The back heel is completely up. My eyes are right on the ball. This is contact point to center field. This is contact point to left field. And this plane that we hit is a very narrow plane. We can't have this be a big plane. As the pitching gets faster, if I hit the outside pitch here and the inside pitch here, it's too big an area to adjust to. In the big leagues, there's 0.4 of a second from release point to contact point. And I don't have that much time to make those big adjustments. As you get better and older and stronger, this plane becomes very narrow, so that the outside pitch is here, the inside pitch occurs even with stride foot, and the inside pitch is a little bit ahead of stride foot. So this diagonal plane of the outside pitch being slightly behind the stride foot, the pitch that I'm going to drive up the middle even with the stride foot, and the pitch that I'm going to pull slightly in front. So it's a very narrow plane. So there's where the ball is going to be. So when I go to hit, I know it's going to be in one of those areas. And it's a very small area that I'm attacking, so I can really anticipate hitting that ball and attacking that area. Hitters are swinging on every pitch. That's a mental approach they take. They don't say, I'm going to wait and see if it's a good one and decide if I'm going to swing or not. You're anticipating swinging on every single pitch. And if it's a bad pitch, then you'll have to stop or disengage. So those are the contact points for outside pitch to right field, to a pitch down the middle, to center field, and to an inside pitch that we would pull to left field, me being a right-handed hitter. Step 8, extension. From contact point, we're going to go to extension. As we've said numerous times, we're going to want to be short to the ball and long through the ball. And this is where we go to extension. This is extension. At extension, my top hand is still up. For a right-handed hitter, the bat points to where second base plays. For a left-handed hitter, of course, it would point to where the shortstop plays. A, my top hand is still up. I haven't prematurely rolled. It's up. Keeping that hand up as long as possible is important. B, the bat points to the second baseman. And C, my arms feel like they're pulling my shoulders out of their socket. I've extended through the ball long. Those are the A, B, C's of extension. Now, going back to A, keeping top hand up, it's imperative that these top two fingers on the grip be loose so that I can have the club head be thrown in there. We call that the last lever act. And so if I'm gripping it tight, or if I have an axe hammer grip, I get here and I start rolling over and I never drive the ball. We say that you hit a bunch of ground balls, you can open up a bait shop, but you're not going to play much baseball. So it's imperative that this is the lever act that occurs to get me to extension. And this is that grip that we talked about earlier with the center knuckles being lined up. So this is extension. Now, keeping the top hand up as long as possible and staying in this position, my head will stay down, and that's extension. So many people think that extension is this, and that is the farthest thing from the truth. Extension is here with the elbow extended in this position, the bat done with the swing. From contact point to there is extension. And we see so many youth get here and they can't drive the ball because they're squeezing the bat and they're rolling over everything. Big league hitters, when you actually see them, if you put a big league hitter on the diamond hitting with college players in the field, they won't want to take many ground balls. A good college player, because the balls are hit like shots, because they're taking that club head, that sweet part of the bat, and when they get here to contact, they're throwing it through the ball to extension. Young people are rolling over and muscling up, and the ball doesn't jump off the bat. And that's what the great hitters do. They throw club head, the sweet part of the bat, to get to extension. And that's a really, really important part. If you get to that step and you can handle that well, you're generating great club head velocity. And the first thing that all scouts look for when they're looking for a great hitter is a quick bat. And that is step 8, extension. Now we're going to get into step 9, the finish. We feel that if you've gotten to a really good finish, that you probably have done well through all of the balance points. You can't have a strong finish without being close on the other ones. So let's get into the finish. We've gone from extension, step 8, to now we're going to do 9, the finish. From this position here, what happens is staying on the plane of the ball. If we throw in club head, what will happen is we'll stay on the same actual plane of the ball. And then that will occur the roll of the wrists. And so after the roll, the arms will fold and in. Now we're seeing so many young people now trying to take the top hand off the bat when they get done with their swing. And this is a theory that started with Charlie Lau and went on to Walter Reniak, and it's a great theory. But it's for big league hitters who are inside out, front foot hitters who are strong and driving the ball to the opposite field. For this backside rotational method that we're teaching, this isn't applicable. So from extension 8, we go to the finish
9. And it's the roll of the wrist, keeping the bat on the same plane, and then it's the folding of the arms coming in. Now notice that from contact point to extension, I've stayed on the same plane of the ball 180 degrees. And I want to be short to the ball, short to it, and long through it. And that's where we really see that. Now, if I get through the ball long and I have great extension and a roll and a fold, there'll be a giant fold in here. And if there's a giant fold in here, now the bat and chin have traded shoulders to my finish, then what will happen on that fold, the bat will actually push out because the fold is so violent. And we've all seen Sammy Sosa, when he went into his home run trot, what he would do, the bat would fold so giantly here because he's hit through it, wherever there's a reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. He's been through it long, he's finished, it's folded deeply, and it was so violent, the opposite reaction, that it actually recoiled. We would see Sammy, he would then go sideways and look at the bat. And I've got another one, and he would do that bounce every single time. So the finish is very important to us. If we see a good finish, we're going to see a deep full and a recoil off of it, leaving both hands on the bat at all times. There we've gone through the 9 steps. Now, what we've had in these 9 steps, we've broken it down, and through the 9 steps, you get paralysis through analysis. And surely we've broken it down so that you will get that. The negative is this, is that we have to do form work and have repetition where we actually get into the fluidity of the swing. That's why we ask our young players, our high school kids and our college kids, any young player, we ask them to go home and do form work every night. Now, before we ask them to do their form work, the first thing we want them to do, we want them to pick up the phone and call a grandparent. If you still have grandparents that are with you, call them, we say. If the Lord does everything as he's supposed to, he's going to come and get your grandparents first. They want to be buried by their children. They don't want to bury their children. So we want to show a loving act of going home and saying, calling our grandparents, saying, Grandma, Grandpa, got a lot of homework, but I'm just calling to tell you I love you. After that, we want them to open up their Bible. After that, we want them to do their homework. And after that, we want them to do their form work. But those great hitters spend a lot of time with the bat, and they do form work. If you're going to be a great hitter, you have to work on it all the time. You don't become a great hitter not working on it all the time. You have to work on it every day. You don't take a day off and stay the same. If you take a day off, you've got worse. So that's what we're looking for. There's a real commitment. They say if you shake a baseball tree, a lot of mitts will fall out. There's a lot of people that can feel, but very few that can hit. Hitting's not being taught. Hitting takes a lot of patience, a lot of practice, and people don't work on it. If there's a 2-hour practice and you have 15 people on your team and you give each person 10 minutes individually, there's your 2 hours. And we haven't covered pitching, catching, defense situations. So no one's spending time with the bat. It's the individual having a good plan, a good program, and working on becoming to look like a good hitter before you become a great one. Thank you for looking at this. Thank you for the time that we spent together, and God bless you. What I'd like to do now is go through a number of things with working on fluidity. What we've done is we've broken the swing into 9 segments and 3 segments to each of those 9. So what happens is when we break the swing down, we get paralysis through analysis. And what we want to work on now is fluidity. Fluidity is a key ingredient. If there's a pause or a stop or things not going the same direction, then we have problems with having a great swing. As I said earlier, the key to becoming a great hitter first is to start looking like one. You look like a hitter before you become one. I'd like to introduce Danny DeFazio, and I'd like to introduce Tyler Johnson. These are 2 really, really good pupils who are very, very dedicated to the game and are fine, fine people. What we're going to do is, what I'm going to do is actually go through very quickly what we've done with the 9s, and then we're going to work on some fluidities, and I don't know where I'm going to go, but we're going to talk about some things. So let's see how it goes. We're all in this together. So what I'd like to start off with is the first check was measure off. Everyone measure off. Both of you measure off. Holding the bat with the hand nearest the knob, getting their belly buttons lined up with the point of the plate, checking their feet and grip. And next we go into the 3 R's, rest, ready, relax, where the bat is flat, so we won't fill a glass of water, and this gives an assertive look. Both of you put your bats so they're not flat. And I don't think that's as assertive, and we want to look as assertive and project positive body language all times. So we call this the 3 R's, rest, ready, relax. We have the first step, I whine, and what do you 2 do? Gather. And then before I let the ball go, you stride. And then 3 things happen simultaneously. Heel down, heel up, hands forward. That gets us to disengage. This is where we stop our swing. This is a very important part. We practice this quite frequently before we ever swing a bat, to disengage. The average hitter sees 3.2 pitches per at bat, and then he sits down 45 minutes, and then 3.2 pitches and sits down 45 minutes. Now we're going to go to contact point to opposite field. Both of you in slow motion so you don't clang your bats. There's opposite field. The front knee is still crooked. The 5 back toes point in the direction the ball is going to come off the bat. Now both of you are going to go to contact to middle. And now we're going to go to contact to pull, and now we're going to go to extension. Now we're going to do the roll, and we're going to do the full, and we're going to show you a finish. And that's what we've covered in these 9 balance points. Now, one of the things that we're always trying to do is actually work this. Let's have both of you step a little bit further apart, and we'll actually have you swing. I'm going to simulate winding up. Can you see both of them if I stand here still? Okay, here we go. So I'll go from side to side. I'm going to wind up, and you're each going to take a swing, and you're going to swing at your pitch. You're going to go, eyes go from release point to contact point. Here we go. And what we should have saw is both of their stride foots hit the ground at release point. Let's see how they do again. We want to step to hit, not step and hit. And we see that quite frequently with the young people. And there's a fine line there. But staying back is the key to hitting, one of the keys for sure. I wind, you what? Gather. Before release point, you take your stride and air it out. Good. And you see nice finishes, and the back foot, they're up on the toe. The back foot hasn't lost any ground. They've gone from shoulder, bat and chin have traded shoulders. The both legs have firmed up. The slanty tee that we have is still there. I want to go back and now just talk about contact point, and what we have are the 9 twos of contact point. Everything we've done up to this point is threes, and we've tried to come up with catchphrases and numbers that they'll remember. And 3 being a predominant number in baseball, as I've said earlier, and I've stated the reasons why. But now we're going to go over the 9 twos of contact point. If you don't have a good visual picture of where you're trying to be when you hit the ball, you're not going to be very successful. So we want to start with a good visual picture. I've been very blessed. I've had colleges circle up around me where I was paid to come in and spend 2 to 3 days with them on just hitting. And this is where I start with college kids and pros. And they'll think this guy's going to come out and talk, what's he really going to do? And I start here with contact point, and we get them to contact point, then I make an adjustment on them, and I've got their attention because they realize the visual picture they had of contact point wasn't a good one. Or this one, or the correction I made was a big one, and these are important. So having a concept of what contact point is very, very important. So what we're going to do, we're going to use contact point where the ball hits the bat, that is contact point, on a ball that's hit directly up the middle to center field. And we're going to have 9 twos of contact point. Now, I always say the favorite number for baseball is 3. 3 strikes and you're out, 3 outs to an inning, 3 bases and a plate. 3 times 3 is 9, and that's the number of innings and the number of players on the field. Every pitcher wants to have an earned average below 3. Every hitter wants to hit 300. But a contact point, I think the key number is 2. I believe in the Lord, and I think the Lord's favorite number may be 2. He gave us man and woman. He didn't want man alone. He gave us 2 eyes, 2 ears, and he's given us someone to be with us at all time, the Holy Spirit, so we're never alone. So I think his favorite number surely may be 2, and that's what I try is once again using a catchphrase so they remember the 9 twos of contact point. We're going to go to contact point and talk about those 9 twos. I'd like you both to face out now where the pitcher is coming the other way, so we're looking into your belly buttons. So the pitcher winds, we what? Gather. We have a straight line on both of them from toe, knee, hip. Straight line from toe, knee, hip. They have a crook leg, elbows are close together, and the front shoulder's down. Then they stride. 3 things happen simultaneously. Heel down, heel up, going to disengage. This is where I take pitches. This is where I should be if I stop my swing. I'm anticipating swinging on every pitch. If it's a bad pitch, I have to stop, and we call this disengage. Now I'm going to go to contact point where I'm driving the ball directly up the middle off the pitcher's chest, and we're going to freeze there. When I get to contact point, the 9 twos that we have, let me borrow your bat and don't move your body, Tyler. The 9 twos that we have is we say the 2 feet make a slanty letter T. Let me borrow your bat. And make a slanty letter T at contact point. I don't know if that's your bat, but that's the one you're using now. I don't know if that's yours. Okay, so there's one of the 9 twos. The 2 feet make a slanty letter T. Front foot always has to be at 45 degrees to allow the hip to get open. The back foot is fully rotated. 2 things point to the pitcher: the entire back foot and his belly button. 2 things are firm: his front leg and front arm. 2 things are greatly bent: his dominant arm and his dominant arm. his eyes have gone from 2 points, from release point, this is really nice, Daniel, to contact point. My elbow is 2 inches from my ribs. There are 2 palms, 1 up, 1 down. This is really, really important. The goal of the hitter is to keep the top hand up as long as possible. There are 2 things the same angle. The angle of the shoulders and the angle of the bat turn same. Face the camera, Tyler. So get to contact point again. And this is what happens on a low pitch. The angle of the bat and the angle of the shoulders are the same. So this is where we're going to be at contact point. Our eyes have gone from 2 points, as I said, release point to contact point. And I'm not sure that I've got all 9 2s there, but it's pretty close, and I'm not going to worry about it. Terminology is something we grab as coaches. You can call it what you want. Use your own word groups. We just, once again, the whole theory with this DVD is to have a common terminology. So that when I say red, the players think red. When I say green, they think green, so that we're just all on the page. The words are really of not of any importance at all, as long as we can use the common words. So let's go back and get in our stances again. Now, one of the things that we want to teach them at any age is to call time. So you're up, and the pitcher's pitching from a set, and he's got a slide step, and he's hit bottom, and both of you is getting your best stance, and he's freezing you there. And you've been there too long, and you want to call time. Both of you call time. Take the top hand up. Can you call time? No. You ask for time. So we want to practice calling time. All right. He's giving you time. What do you say to him? Thank you. All right. Now we get back in the batter's box. So we want to be able to break every act down. Okay. Now we're going to what we're going to do on this one here. We're going to both do a disengage. On the pitch is going to be high and in to both of you. Okay, high and inside pitch to both of you. This is a disengage. At release point, they stride, disengage. Now, at disengage, we call this the 12-inch box. On an inside pitch, this box faces the pitcher because he's had to get his hands in here. He still hasn't spun yet. He's trusting his hands to go here, and his hips will follow. If he spins, prematurely spinning the back, the club head will lay down and he'll belong to the ball. So this is disengage to an inside pitch. The 12-inch box, being that box without a lid, faces the pitcher. Now we're going to do disengages on outside pitches to both of them, simulating the same thing. Pitcher winds, we what? Gather. Before release point, we take our stride. Now it's heel down, heel up. These are disengages to an outside pitch. The 12-inch box still faces towards the opposite batter's box. We haven't spun too much. Disengage is very, very important. So now from disengage in slow motion, both of you go to contact point to oppo, both of you to contact point to middle, both of you to contact point to pull. Now the key here is extension and leaving both hands on the bat. We see a lot of great hitters taking their top hand off the bat, and I don't fight that when they're really, really strong. But we need to stay and be long through the ball, and both of you show me how long you can be through the ball. Keep the bat on the ball 180 degrees. Keep it on the plane and spin it. Keep it, spin it. Good. And that's what we want to do, is stay on the plane of the ball as long as possible. So with the help of 2 really fine young men, really good looking young men, and 2 really good hitters. And how often do you guys do your form work?
Every night.
Every night. Every night. And the key is, and when you're reprogramming, you need to do a little bit every night. It's not the most important thing. What do I want you to do first?
Read your Bible. Or call your grandparents, actually.
Yeah, that's it. I want you to read your Bible every night. I want you to call your grandparents, and then I want you to do your homework. And then what I want you to do last?
Do your form
Form work. And how long do I want you to do it?
3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes, all at once?
Throughout the day.
Yeah. And who's the best coach that you'll ever have in your whole life?
Parents.
Parents, because they see you play more than anyone else. And if you do something different, they're going to look and say, hey, you weren't doing that last week. What's going on now? So the parents are the best coach. Everyone that reaches their full potential, they have a great support system. And you're not going to reach your full potential without Jesus Christ, and He's given us the parents that He's given us for a reason. And those 2 are our best support system. And the parents love you, but God loves us. He might not love what we're doing, but He loves us all the time. So with the dedication that these 2 have, they're looking forward to great seasons. And this kind of commitment, we could all have a great season. God bless. Plug in. Try and see release point. These are all straight pitches, right?
Found one you like, put a rope to it. Atta boy. Wheels, wheels, wheels.
We thank you for your support of On Deck Ministries. Please take the time to fill out any questions or concerns you may have and address them to us.